Viewers and subscribers, welcome back to Beating the Press podcast. I am your host, Rafa. Now, coming up in this evening's podcast, we're going to be looking ahead, previewing the big EPL matches coming up on the weekend. Now, joining me this evening to preview these matches and to talk some EPL football, we have returning to the podcast, Christoph.
Good to be back, viewers.
Christoph, it was a very exciting and interesting international break. We saw a number of teams shoring up their qualification for the 2026 World Cup. We also saw Jamaica getting two wins under their belt and taking one step closer to that big World Cup. What was your take on the international break in terms of those teams who have made it now to the World Cup?
Um, I mean, I don't really have any say on it. Not too surprising for a number of teams. I think, more importantly, I guess for the clubs is that a lot of these club players, bigger teams mostly, a lot of their players went away on this international break, did really well. Not a lot of injuries to complain about. So I think that is a positive.
Definitely. I mean, the likes of Haaland, getting four, I believe, in one game. And of course, we saw Isak getting his first competitive minutes of the season. So, interesting times ahead, indeed. And interesting times ahead is coming up on the weekend, Christoph. And we're going to kick things off over there at your club, Arsenal. They take on Nottingham Forest, who are now under new management. Over the international break, Christoph, the man who led them to Europe has been sacked. And a man who won a European Cup last season with Spurs is now the manager in charge over there at Nottingham Forest. A nemesis of your team, Arsenal, past coach of rival Spurs, Ange Postecoglou. What's your take on the sacking of Santos and the appointment of Ange? What's your take? New coach bounce versus
Uh,
Arsenal first up?
Potentially new coach Bones. He's had them for probably a week or less. I think the sacking of Santos was stupid in my opinion, but it seems like there was behind the scenes falling out between Santos and Edu, former Arsenal director of football, and
And
that is
possibly the owner of Nottingham Forest as well. We
I,
did see signs of it last season
we
when there
saw
was
signs of it last season, but I think it was probably the Edu. Santos asked for particular signings. Your Edu disagreed and made different signings, and uh to my knowledge, the reports were that Santos has refused to work with Edu, so that has probably led to
the Edu you speak of, Christoph, is a former Arsenal man.
former Arsenal man, yes. Former
Interest.
Arsenal player, former Arsenal sporting director.
So it's almost there's some history there between what's going on over there at Nottingham Forest and the team they're about to play in the EPL.
Ah, there's a lot of history between Nottingham Forest and Arsenal. Arsenal wear red because Nottingham Forest gave them red jerseys.
Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff indeed. Rich history between these two clubs, and we're seeing it playing out in terms of manager as well as behind the scenes in terms of sporting director. So, I mean, there's an underlying narrative for this fixture, something we didn't necessarily see at the start of the season. But getting right into the heart of this game, Christoph, Saka is still out injured. Will Eze get the start versus Nottingham Forest? Is the question that I'm coming to you with at this point.
Yeah, I think Eze will start over Martinelli on the left. As for the right, I think Madueke will start on the right. I think he did
And
well.
Odegaard playing that attacking role in the
Will
midfield.
play well. The other guy doesn't play directly attacking. He's up and down,
Well,
yo.
the number 10, the so-called number
It,
10,
it,
hybrid
it,
10.
he's not playing as a number 10.
So
It
what
could
is
be
he
a,
playing
could,
as?
could
A
be a
number 8?
hybrid 10. Could be a hybrid 10. It's
Right, that's what I'm
almost
saying.
it's a
So isn't he
I would say
at the peak of the triangle?
no, no.
He's
It's
not
more
so well.
it's
So
mo-
Arsenal in the
it's
middle.
not that type
What's
of
their
triangle.
formation in the middle?
What is the formation? It's
In
more
the midfield, that midfield tree. How do they
uh
line up?
but it would be a triangle, but the tip of the triangle would be Zuba Mendy, and then you have Rice and Odegaard. So it's not like Odegaard is in that attacking midfield role. He is up and down. He's a 8, he's a 10,
So he's a box to box. He's playing a box to box role, so to speak.
so to speak. Both him and Rice are playing box to box roles.
Oh, so okay, and then Zubimendi is playing that holding role, number
Zu-
six.
right, more. I mean, he doesn't necessarily have the physical presence of a party, so it's more of a deep line playmaker
Playmaker,
that is
like a Pirlo
defending.
role then. A Pirlo role.
Well, Perlo's a regista. A regista is much more aggressive than a deep line playmaker.
Okay. So I'll start off categorization of these players. But that's the midfield three we're expecting in a nutshell.
Yeah, that
Zubimendi, Odegaard, and Rice.
that is the midfield tree I expect. Yeah.
And what about the back line? Any changes there?
The back line, I think we are probably expecting Timber, Mascara, Gabriel, and I think they'll continue with
Califiori.
Calafiori. Uh,
Oh, so Saliba is still out injured.
I'm not sure if he's injured or not. I would have to check on it. But if he's fit, then I expect him to start. If he's not, then I think Mascara could start. Um,
And
Potentially the
Raya in goal.
Rare in goal.
Okay. Oh, you were making a point?
Oh no, I was saying, potentially you could also see Hikapi. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. Starting as well. I
Who is
saw
that?
the new defender, left side defender. What's his name? From Leverkusen.
Oh, Arsenal did bring in a new defender late on in the transfer
Right,
window.
right. Last final day.
Okay. Well,
What was his
I
name?
mean, we'll have time to dissect that. I doubt he will be testing at the deep end in this particular game, but
Hincapi. I think he's
yeah,
Ecuadorian,
it's
but
very well, I mean, it's somewhat predictable in terms of the Arsenal 11, Christoph, but where the unpredictability lies is with this Nottingham Forest team, especially under a new management. Will he continue with the sort of players? For one, the defense have lost Aitna. So Aitna is out with an injury, who is usually played at the right back position. So he's definitely out. I'm not sure who will replace him, but that is the big question, and that's what we'll be looking for come match day. Which starting 11 does Ange bring out as opposed to the starting 11, which has been doing the business to an extent for Santos? I mean, Nottingham Forest did well last season. The start of the season has been some mixed results. They are coming off a shocking defeat, I would say, to West Ham in their last game. West Ham was out of form, out of sorts, but they still managed to come up with a 3-0 defeat over Nottingham Forest. That was the last game Santos was in charge of. So, can this Nottingham Forest team bounce back and hurt Arsenal, Christoph, especially under new management? Will they come out with a new coach bounce and get something from this game? Is that possible?
it's certainly possible. Again, like I said, that new coach bounce. We don't know what kind of tricks Ange might come up with for this first game, and we're not 100% what his starting 11 will be. It could just be a game where he doesn't necessarily care about the result and he just wants to see his players play and see what he can do with them.
Oh no, definitely. Yeah, I'm sure with Arsenal being the rival team, I mean, it can't just be a
Rival,
case of giving
rival,
up 3 points.
rival in terms of what?
Well, former rival team, I should say. Former rival team. The rich history between Spurs and Arsenal,
No,
coming from that history.
I don't think Ange has any hard feelings towards us. I think he'd more
Well,
have hard feelings towards Tottenham.
Well, I mean, any coach wants to get off to a good start. You want to leave your mark first game up. But I personally don't think there will be many changes. I think any change made to the start in 11 will be forced changes, changes which need to be made based on player availability and injuries. So I expect to see the majority of the players who have been doing the business for uh Nottingham Forest since the start of the season and also into last season. But as time progresses, we'll definitely see the mark that Ange has placed on this particular team. It will be interesting to see how they play. They were a solid defensive unit last season, but since this season, they have been leaking a few goals over the first three games. And as mentioned, they are coming off a shock 3-0 defeat to West Ham. Also, too, similar thing with Arsenal. Arsenal is coming off a defeat versus Liverpool. So both teams are coming into this game on the backs of losses. Who will have the power to get the better of each other? Of course, this one is being played over there at the Emirates, Christoph. So that would give Arsenal a distinct advantage having to play this game at home. But oftentimes, what I've seen coming off these international breaks, Christoph, is that teams where a lot of their players don't necessarily go out on international duties. The coach tend to spend some extra time coaching them up and coming up with a game plan. And inevitably, that game plan tends to play out on the weekend where they seem to get a result against the odds. And I'm predicting based on that statistic and the fact that they are now under new management and getting that new coach bound, I'm expecting Nottingham Forest to get something from this game. What's your prediction for this one, though, Christoph?
I expect Nottingham Forest to do well. I think they'll be very competitive in this game, but I think Arsenal will win this one. Especially at home, and a lot of the Arsenal players did do really well on the international break. And for the first time in 12 years, no Arsenal player has gone out on international break and come back injured. So that's a
Mm.
positive. So I think Arsenal will win this one. I'm going to go with 3-1, 3-0.
3-1, 3-0. For me, Christoph, I just have a feeling that Forest will get something from this fixture. While the players did well on international break, I still think a lot of these players are getting to know this Arteta system. There have been a number of additions to this team. And of course, Saka has been a linchpin over the years. He is now out injured. Eze, Zubimendi, these are new players coming into this Arsenal team who have been given a vital role to play in this team and indeed for the success of this team. I think they are still finding their way in this Arteta system. Of course, they would have been humbled at Anfield as well, having
No,
gone
no,
down
I don't know.
1-0 to
I,
Liverpool,
I
who are
don't
the defending
know
champions.
I don't know what misconception you have in your head about being humbled at
So you're
Anfield.
saying Arsenal wasn't humbled at Anfield?
No, Liverpool will want to dissect that performance that they had at Anfield and want to understand how they did so badly. If not
Well,
for a
well.
brilliant free kick, we would be having a very different
Well,
conversation.
that is true, but they always say the proof of the pudding is in the eating, 3 points in the bag.
No, that
And
is
of
not
course, when you
always the
check the
case.
table, Liverpool is up there at the top, having played three, having won three.
Sometimes you're
So,
just lucky. That is it.
well, that's all parts and parcels of the game. But for this game in particular, Christoph, I'm gonna go with Nottingham Forest 1, Arsenal nil. So I'm expecting defensive masterclass from this Nottingham Forest team where they will keep Arsenal at bay and pinch one on the counter, possibly a classic Chris Wood strike. So for me, I'm going to go 1-0 Forest. But of course, there is another big derby on the weekend, Christoph. Man City takes on Manchester United. Talk to us about that game. What can we expect from that fixture? Will we be seeing fireworks? Or will it be a drab, boring game?
Honestly, I feel like it could go either way. Um, I think Cunha is out injured, right?
Cunha
Um,
picked up a knock in the last game, yes.
right.
So he might not be fully fit for this game.
So Cunha might not be fully fit. I think we can probably expect Sesko to start that game. I
So that
think
would be his first start of the season.
right. And United have a new keeper in goal, so he will probably start this game as well.
Do you think he will come in immediately?
Well, Onana is gone on loan, so
Right. But Onana hasn't been starting. It was by Bidner.
two, but I think Onana was Onana
think
started.
Onana played in the cup game
Onana
when
started against Grimsby, but if I
Grimsby,
recall,
that's right.
he was injured at the start of the season, so he was coming back from injury, so that could have played a factor. And then the Grimsby game kind of just sealed his fate.
Ah, indeed, indeed. But he seemed to have gotten a warm welcome at Trabzonspor over there in Turkey. So he seemed to
Maybe
be feeling the love
maybe they
from the
don't have you
fans.
maybe they don't have YouTube in Turkey.
Well, time will tell in terms of his success or failure, but for sure. But I'm not sure. It's possible. I mean, you did go outside a keeper, possibly a number one keeper. So why not show him in at the deep end in this Manchester derby? This is a big one. This one is taking place over there at the Etihad, Christoph. And of course, that man Haaland, he is coming off putting four past Iceland, I believe uh in that game they had with Norway. So he is in red hot form coming into this fixture, of course. Can United keep him off the score sheet? That's the big question.
Um, I think that's more a matter of how good these United defenders are. At man marking, so to speak. We know you can man mark Haaland out of a game because of how he's asked to play for Man City. So it is possible. The question is, will Man United defenders have a good game on there? But it's not like Haaland is the only person who can score for Man City. They brought in a number of signings and players would spend what
I
probably
think I think on the Man City side, Marmoush picked up an injury over the international break. So
okay.
he should be out for this game.
Didn't know Marmoush was out, but there are
Marmoush is out.
there are other players who can score. Doku has been picking up some form, even if the
You
end
just said
product is not
Doku.
right.
Oh, come now, man. Come now. Doku.
Doku
There's
has
no
been
end product
starting.
to Doku game.
Yeah, but that's what I said. He's picking up form despite the lack of end product.
I wouldn't be depending on Doku to score.
I wasn't
It's
defend.
better you had
No,
said someone
you're
like
not.
Raniers.
You're not depending
Raniers
on
could pop up with
Doku
a
to
goal
score,
from the
man. You're
midfield.
depending on Doku to create. That is what Doku is doing. He's there
Right.
to create.
Yeah, he could
Phil
create a
Phil
chance or two.
Foden always does well against United.
Well, I'm not sure if Phil Foden will start this game. I mean, his form has been atrocious since last season, so
His farm,
I would be
his
quite
his
shocked if
farm
he
has been
even
picking up,
started
man.
this game. I don't expect a Phil Foden to start. What I'm expecting is in the midfield, it should be a Bernardo Silva, Rodri, and Reiners. That's the midfield trio I'm looking forward to. And of course, up front, Doku, as you mentioned, may get the start on the left. And Oscar Bob, an academy player, he should get the start on the right as he's been doing well since the start of the season. And of course, spearheading the attack would be Harlan. And then, of course, in the back line, Nunes, who was signed as a midfielder, he should continue playing at right back. Diaz and Guardiol should make up that defensive duo in the middle of the defense there. And then Nouri, another new signing from Wolves, should start at left back. The interesting thing for Man City as well, Christoph, Man City made a goalkeeper signing over the transfer window as well. That man from Paris, the Italian, Donnarumma was signed. Will he start over Trafford in this game? This
Yes,
would be his first start. Would
he
he
would start.
be thrown in at the deep end?
He will be starting. Yeah, 100%.
Wow.
Not a question.
So you have all faith in Donnarumma to slot in to this Pep Guardiola team.
I have all faith in Donnarumma to start this game. It's obvious that Pep Guardiola has identified a weakness that needs um that Donnarumma will fill because Donnarumma is not a keeper Pep Guardiola would have normally bought or purchased. He's not a ball playing goalkeeper. He's not good
Right.
with his feet.
So why is
He
he bringing him in then?
he's a pure shot stopper. I think he's come to the realization that the defense is no longer as good as it used to be, and
Mm.
Manchester City's ability to stop the counter attack has waned. As such, he has brought in somebody who, when called upon, will make saves
So he's a better shot stopper than Ederson
significantly.
and also
Ederson was not.
Trafford as well.
Ed,
Or
well,
Trafford probably is a bit more inexperienced at this level.
right.
His claim to fame was in the championship.
Trafford. Yeah, right. Trafford will be inexperienced. It's kind of young. He's new, so
But this
um,
must be a big blow to Trafford though, Christoph. I mean,
No,
just when you thought you were the number one, you're now relegated to the bench.
I
When you
don't.
probably could have signed for another EPL team and be their number one out and out.
I
This
don't.
must be a big blow. I would not
I,
be happy if I was Trafford.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
So you
Um,
would be happy be playing second
no,
fiddle to a Donnarumma?
you are not necessarily happy, but I don't think it's a blow to anything. A better keeper has come in. Is that a
If I
question?
was Trafford, I would be totally devastated. This being a World Cup year as well, when he potentially had a slight outside chance of
No,
making it into that World Cup squad.
over who?
Well, you can never tell what might happen. A player might get injured,
A player might get injured, but
player might be out of form.
assuming
Anything can
assuming
happen.
assuming all the players are fit going into the World Cup, who would he get a spot over?
Well, he could possibly get in as a third choice keeper.
Uh, One, two, one, 1, 2, and 3. Who we are expecting to be 1, 2, or 3. All three of them are starters in the Premier League.
Who are those?
Ramsdale, Nick Pope, and
Oh, but Ramsdale isn't starting.
Ramsdale is going to start for Newcastle, guaranteed.
Over Nick Pope. Remember,
Yeah,
Nick Pope and Ramsdale are on the same team, you know. So right away, that
Ramsdale,
creates a conflict of interest.
Ra
Trafford could slip in for one of those two if they're not playing regularly.
unlikely.
But you want to give yourself a chance. No, with Trafford being relegated to the bench, there isn't absolutely no chance. I would
Well,
be devastated.
potentially January come, he could ask for a loan.
Well, I would possibly go that route in all honesty, because just when I thought I was the number one, I'm now being relegated to the bench to play second fiddle. That would have been a big blow. But what of this game, Christoph? What of this game? With all these new signings, with all the speculation surrounding starting 11s and potentially both teams having a new goalkeeper between the sticks, what can we expect from this game?
Well, when I was thinking about this game, I wasn't. I know Donnarumma had signed for City, but I wasn't factoring him in when I was thinking about it. And now that I've thought about it, I don't think United will win because of Donnarumma. His shot
So
stopping
to
ability.
to get this right, would United have won if Trafford was between the sticks?
I'm not saying United would have won, but I would have given them a better chance,
So you're
right? But
saying no, you're giving them no chance.
I don't think they will get any goals in with Donnarumma, to be honest.
Wow, wow, that's a bold call right there. That's a big, big call. So what's the call in terms of your predicted scoreline?
I think Manchester City potentially win 2-0. Haaland definitely does not do as well in these big games, but as we've seen over, you could say the last 2 seasons, it's not necessarily Haaland that gets the goals in these big matches. We've seen, Foden is out of form, but Foden has done the damage against United last 2 seasons. So
So you're calling this one 2-0, you say, to
2
City?
nil to City.
2-0
I I
City.
I think United could potentially get a win because of the potential disharmony of these new signings from City.
I'm not seeing any. What disharmony do you speak of?
Well, they
I'm
get
not
what?
seeing any disharmony.
Well, City has lost two of
I'm I'm
their
I'm
last
seeing
three,
more of
right?
maybe the lack of chemistry.
That disharmony,
Oh,
lack of chemistry, is still
you're
disharmony,
speaking more of the playing style as opposed to the mentality side.
right?
I thought when
So
you said disharmony, you were more referencing the mental side of these players,
no,
that they were not happy.
disharmony in terms of how these players are not necessarily fully gelled
So the
together.
lack of chemistry between players then.
Right. And then
Got you.
again, they have a new keeper who is not a ball playing keeper. How will that affect their build up play and things like that?
Right, right.
Although, technically, I guess you have Haaland, you can go long.
Well, possibly, but we know that's not the Pep style. So uh,
We've seen
sure,
them do it though. We've seen them
Donnarumma
do it.
must have been away from the Man City camp on international duty for Italy, I believe. I did not get a chance to see that game, but I believe Italy had played to a 4-3 win over. Which team was that? I'm not sure the team, but I thought I saw a scoreline of that nature. I'm not sure if Donnarumma was the one between the sticks, but obviously he will be one of the focal or the main talking points on the weekend if he does in fact get the start, because we could be here hyping him up and Pep pull one out of the hat and start Trafford. He might say, whoa, this game
Israel.
is too big
It
for
was 4-5 against
Donnarumma.
Israel.
Oh, 4-5 versus Israel, right? I know there was a high scoring game. I'm
It's
not
a
sure if
shocking.
Donnarumma was the one
It was
between the
it, it
sticks,
was
but
Donnarumma, but that's shocking.
Pep
Shocking.
Pep could pull a surprise and start Trafford, is what I'm saying, Christoph.
Two
To be
own
honest,
goals.
I might have some reservation in terms of throwing in Donnarumma at the deep end, especially in a Manchester derby. And as you mentioned, City having played three, they have won one game and have lost two. So that's definitely interesting. Out of form there. The same could be said of Manchester United. We're not seeing the best of United, but at least they managed to pull off a win versus Burnley in their last game. But for me, much like you, I am gonna take City to win. But I think the scoreline would be much closer. So I'm gonna go 2-1 for Man City. I think United will put up a fight. They usually elevate their games, especially when they are playing a high profile team,
Not when it
which,
comes to City. They seem to capitulate to nothing.
well, well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but I'm gonna go with my
They
instincts and call
they
this
they
one 2-1 for City.
they have them find the strength for Arsenal, them find the strength for Liverpool. When it comes to City, they seem to capitulate.
Time will tell. Time will tell. But what would you put that down to though? If that is indeed the case, what accounts for that? Uh
Mental. I think City mentally has already beaten them in most cases, and that is why.
mm, Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. But other interesting games on the match card, Christoph. We have Bournemouth versus Brighton. What says you? Bournemouth at home versus Brighton.
Brighton won their last game, right? But
Brighton won their last game versus Man City. They
all
came
right,
from behind and won that game 2-1, I believe, if memory serves me correctly. I know
yeah, two
Milner
one,
equalized from this penalty spot in that
yeah,
game. So
two
they
one, I
were down
believe.
1-0, came from behind, won that game 2-1. And Bournemouth is coming off an impressive 2-0 win versus Spurs, I believe, if memory serves me correctly. So
I
Bournemouth at home. For me, I'm gonna go with a Bournemouth win. To be honest with you, I think Bournemouth has looked the part in this early stage of the campaign. So I'm gonna back Bournemouth for a win. So I'm gonna go 2-0 to Bournemouth. Bournemouth to win at home, 2-0 over Brighton. What says you?
um I I want to say a draw, but I think I have to agree with you that Bournemouth is probably going to win. I give the edge to them, but I think it's probably going to be like 2-1.
2-1 for Bournemouth. Then we have Crystal Palace at home versus Sunderland. Crystal Palace versus Sunderland. What says you in that game?
Um,
Of course, there was
that
much talk surrounding the Crystal Palace defender, Gehi, and his move collapsing to move to Liverpool on deadline day. So that should be an interesting talking point in this game. Is he disappointed? Will he show the same commitment to this Crystal Palace team? These are some of the questions we may see being answered over the weekend. Or will the narrative all of a sudden shift? But what says you in this game in particular? Crystal Palace at home versus Sunderland.
right. This could also be an interesting game. Sunderland has looked impressive for a newly promoted team. You know, they got a very big win for their very first game. I think their last game was also a win, right? Or was it a draw?
I am not sure. You would have to check
Uh,
that
let's
result.
see. Sunderland. They have two wins and a loss.
Wins and loss.
Two wins and a loss.
6 points
Right.
from
So
9.
they won the last game. They won the last game. They lost the second game, won the first game, lost the second, won the third game. Right. I think they're
So by
doing
that
well.
trend, they should lose then.
No, that's
If
not
we're
really a
going by
trend.
that pattern.
Three
Win,
is not
lose,
a
win.
no, no, that's not a pattern yet. I want to say
I'm
it's
gonna go with a loss. I'm gonna
I
follow that
I
anomaly.
I think this is a potential to be a really good game because I like how Sunderland are playing and I do like how Crystal
Crystal
Palace are
Palace to
playing.
win for me. Crystal
I
Palace 1-0.
I think a draw, two draw.
I'm gonna go with that Sunderland pattern of win, lose, win, and I'm gonna take a lose in this one versus Palace. So for me, I'm going with Crystal Palace to win at home, 1-0 versus this Sunderland team.
Okay.
Then we have Everton versus Aston Villa. Everton at home in their new stadium versus a struggling Aston Villa team. What says you?
Um, like you said, they're a struggling team. They haven't looked very good this season. I have not been impressed by what I've seen. I am going to go with Everton to win 2-1.
Everton to win 2-1. It's hard to go against Everton as well in the sort of form, especially with Jack Grealish seem to be flying at this point in time. Some big signing on loan from Man City, and he's definitely hit the ground running. This look like a revitalized Everton team, and I'm definitely going to go with an Everton win versus the struggling. I don't think Aston Villa uh, gets anything from this game. So for me, I'm gonna go 2-0 to Everton. 2-0 to Everton in this one. The next game we have up is Fulham versus Leeds. Fulham at home versus Leeds.
I am going to go with Fulham to win 2-0.
Fulham to win 2-0. I think both teams will score in this game, to be honest with you. 2-1 Fulham for me. 2-1 to Fulham. I think Fulham may be a bit more organized. Leeds away from home. Yeah, it should be a tight game though, for sure. I think one goal may separate these teams. So Fulham 2-1, a little more experience, a little more fight, a slight advantage being at home. So for me, 2-1 to Fulham. I think Fulham was given a hard time versus Chelsea, and the outcome of that game could have been different if not for some poor refereeing decision. So I think Fulham will take heart from that game and live to fight another day and get a win over this Leeds team. So 2-1 over Leeds. Then we have Newcastle versus Wolves. Newcastle versus Wolves. What says you? Newcastle at home.
I think Newcastle brought in a new striker,
Newcastle did
Nick
bring in a big German,
6'6".
Voltamad, I believe is his name, as well as Wissa. So they brought in two strikers, Wissa and Voltimad. But Wolves did manage to hold on to Strand Larson. He was heavily linked with a move to Newcastle as well, but that move did not materialize. So they still have Strand Larson. He could be dangerous in this game as well. For
I
me, I see nothing other than a Newcastle win at home. Maybe if they were away from home, it may have been a different ball game. But I think the new signings will look to hit the ground running
I think
after this saga over Isak. So Newcastle to win, I'm gonna go 3-1. Newcastle 3-1.
I don't know if Newcastle will win 3-1 because Wolves have lost all of their games so far. Newcastle has drawn two and lost one. So their form has not been great, but that could be down to the fact that they did not have Isak to use or Isak refused to
Yeah,
play.
I think
Blah
Newcastle
blah
have
blah.
played well, but didn't have anyone to finish up front. So they've been definitely missing a striker. But in terms of their build-up play and chance creation, they've done well. So with a new striker now and experience in Wissa, then I think they should have enough to get a win.
Okay. Um, I think I'll go with a Newcastle win as well. Wolves was poor last season. They've seemed to have continued that trend so far this season. Newcastle was excellent, but again, like we said, they did not have a striker really at the beginning of this season. So let's see how the new signings fare. So I will go with Newcastle to win 2-0.
2-0. Then we have West Ham versus Tottenham. What says you? West Ham versus Tottenham. This seemed to be a London derby of sorts. West Ham at home, Tottenham away. I'm gonna go with a Tottenham win. I think the win West Ham had over Uh, Forest may have been slightly fluky. I don't think they've so-called turned the corner. So I'm gonna go with a win for Spurs. I'm gonna go 2-1 win for Spurs.
I think that's fair. I would go with a 2-1 win for Spurs as well.
2-1 win for Spurs as well.
Right.
Wow.
I don't think Spurs is going to lose this match. And again, like you said, I also thought that West Ham's win was a fluke.
We have Brentford versus Chelsea, and not two London teams matching up again, Christoph. Brentford at home versus Chelsea. Not sure if Cole Palmer will be back after Pickett sustaining an injury, but since his departure, Chelsea have managed to have gotten 2 wins. Pedro seemed to have stepped up, and Enzo as well. Those have been the two damagers for Chelsea early in the season. What says you in terms of this game versus Brentford?
I agree with. I think Chelsea will win this game. They what drawed one and won two. Um, Brentford lost their last game, right?
I think Brentford may have won, I believe.
They won. Okay. Brentford. Let's see, Brentford. No, they lost their last game. Lost.
Okay.
Chelsea to win 3-0.
I can see Chelsea winning this one goal to nil. I think this will be a closer game than we expect, especially coming off the international break. But I think Chelsea will have too much for this Brentford team. Then we have the final game on the agenda, Burnley versus Liverpool. Burnley versus Liverpool. Burnley at home versus Liverpool. What says you?
Liverpool. I think Liverpool will win this one. Burnley. Um,
Anything other than a Liverpool win would be a big shock. So I'm gonna go 3 goals to nil for Liverpool.
I'll do it.
What's
Given Liverpool's pattern of losing games after winning big matches is
Well, make the call. Make the
could be
call.
in
If
for a
you're calling
shock.
an upset, make the call.
Could be in for a shock. Could be in for a shock. But
It's being recorded, so make
I
the
will
call if you're
I
making
will
the call.
I think Burnley have a strong chance given Liverpool's record, but given that Liverpool have a new striker, new signing bounce or whatever, I think I'll go with Liverpool for this one. So
What's the score?
I think Liverpool win 3-1.
3-1. Not a bad call. Liverpool hasn't had the most airtight defense, but I think they may very well step up. They did get a clean sheet versus Arsenal, so who to tell? They may still get a clean sheet versus Burnley, but yeah, for me, anything other than a Liverpool win would be a massive disaster in this one. But interesting games ahead, much to look forward to. Football is back on the agenda. Any quick final words, Christoph? Quick final words for this
Uh,
weekend's action coming up.
oh, just happy to be back to club football. I don't particularly like the international break. The qualifiers or nation or friendly. Not interested in those really.
EPL football you want to see?
EPL football. I'll watch the World Cup, Euros, whatever. I like competitive. I don't like the qualifiers. I don't. So I'm excited to be back for some club football.
Up and running this weekend again, Christoph. Saturday and Sunday, you can have your fill of EPL action. But viewers and subscribers, thank you again for tuning in to us here on Beating the Press podcast. Please help us to continue to grow. We're aiming to hit 500 subscribers before the end of the year. So subscribe if you haven't subscribed as yet. And if you have subscribed already, help us to grow by sharing. Share, share, share. Help us to hit that 500 mark before the end of the year. Christoph, thanks again for coming through. But until next time, this is Rafa signing off.